Okay, I would recommend watching the Rahu video first. If you have not seen Rahu video, I just did. Watch that first and then watch K2. So I don't want to repeat myself. So we're going to talk about K2. K2 is the path behind us. Again, these are shadow planets, usually parts of ourselves that we suppress or we intentionally don't pursue. Or we don't really know the gifts that we have because we've been told, you're not good at that, or you can't do that, or da da da. Right? So these are parts of ourselves that we suppress or hide, whether subconscious or consciously. K2 represents our maternal grandfather. He represents consumption. Pain can represent fever and wounds, witchcraft, causing trouble to enemies. Horned animals like rhinos and elephants can represent dogs, chickens, birds, especially those that have multicolors. I had a dog who had multiple colors. Also represents philosophy and can represent salvation. It's the south node of the moon. And again, with it being a shadow planet, it does symbolize detachment, spiritual liberation, and our past. Basically, it's what we've already mastered in a past life or past lives. So it's usually wherever K2 is sitting, that house, the themes of that house are usually something that we don't really care to pursue in this life, or we kind of reject it. And I'll give you an example. So for me, my K2 is next to the moon, almost conjunct with moon, in my 11th house of Leo. 11th house is networks. Leo is a king. Leo could care less. Shows up, gets the job done, knows he's a leader. Like, and moon is very emotional. So like my social networks, I'm very, very sensitive about like my friendships and my social networks and the people that I consider close to me. Very protective, very clearly, very protective, very, very aware, of what's going on with each of them. However, with K2 there, I also will make plans and then I won't want to go. So I get like super excited to build a network and to, be in community. But then when push comes to shove, I'm like, I don't really need this. Like, I don't really need. I know I'm connected to these people. I know that they love me. I know that they know I love them. I don't really need to show it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really fight it because I would be a complete recluse if like I didn't push myself sometimes to be social. And that's what K2 does to me. I think I had to have been some kind of like socialite or something in a past life, because I really don't like crowds. And but then again, I love to entertain. It's like that weird Leo push pull dynamic between like I'm emotionally attached to my friendships, but I also subconsciously want to go inward and I just want to be in my own energy. It's like a weird dynamic. But this is why I love astrology, is because you learn about yourself on these deep levels and you're like, okay, I know that this is a weakness or something that I struggle with and I need to correct it, or I course correct. So I don't wake up one day and have no fucking friends. Oh. Anyways, back to K2. So, past life, let's see. It also can represent the completion of karma. Like when those contracts are done, like that's good and bad karma too. It doesn't just have to do with like it's like anything from past lives, that any reaping that we need to do from this sowing that we've done in past lives, whether that was good deeds or shitty deeds. We're going to come back again. We're going to be reincarnated. We're going to come back to reap the benefits, or vice versa, to reap the negative of what you've done in past lives. So this is like the closing out. Ketu is like the closing out of that. And wherever he's located in the chart, you can typically see the end of those karmic contracts and really see it play out in your own life too. Past life connections are also tied to Ketu. So again, not every karmic connection is good. I just want to say that because sometimes I think when you meet someone, you're like, oh my God, I feel like I've known them forever. Like, we just clicked, you know? Sometimes that person is there to bring you the repercussions of maybe what you've done to them in a past life. So if you did them dirty in a past life, that's why they're showing up. And it might not be because y'all get to kiki and, you know, and hang out and have a good time. Like, maybe initially it's like that, but then they start doing shit behind your back or talking about you in a negative light or not really understanding you, or the friendship doesn't feel equal, or maybe they take your man, or like, I don't know. Okay, or maybe they just have an attitude towards you and you don't really understand. Like, these are all past life connections and they're not all for your benefit. And I think for a long time I thought that anytime I felt like a karmic connection with someone, I was like, oh, this is special. It's like, no, not necessarily. Sometimes they're here to deliver karma to you. And that could also not be very fun. So I think that's why it's important to sometimes have your guard up, or at least understand these energies and what it could be, and to, you know, just be a little bit careful. It also can represent a forced detachment from materialism that will encourage you to take more of a spiritual path. So, again, for example, I could really be alone in my life. I enjoy alone time, but there is a desire to be seen in my chart because of where Leo is, you know, and Moon, to be understood and seen. So, through my social networks, because again, that's where mine is located. But if you want to dig in on yours, let me know and we definitely can. Ketu can also cause a lot of confusion. He can bring loss. He also represents loss and isolation. Again, isolation. He can bring other obstacles like that. And ultimately, though, it's supposed to, all of these lessons, whether good or bad, however you want to label them, because I don't see isolation as bad. I love being alone. I love being in my own energy to a detriment sometimes. But I don't necessarily think that that's a negative, because ultimately it's made me go inward. You know, and a lot of K2's objective in our lives is to show us what we need to break away from the material world, so we can become more enlightened spiritually and increase our intuition and our self-realization, have deep self-realization. So that is my analysis of K2. Thanks for being here.